We're Mike and Debbie Kelley of Kelley's Outdoor Adventures, the RV Drifters. We travel willy-nilly style. You can come along and watch our adventures as we learn the ins and outs of RV camping. This is a story about how a frog, or actually part of a frog, got inside our freshwater tank in our RV. Let me go back. In order to explain this whole story properly, we need to go back in time. In a recent trip to Florida, we stopped in to see our grandson, his new wife, and our great-grandson. Debbie and I stayed at the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds. We were only looking to stay a couple of nights, and the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds fit the bill perfectly. And I want to start by saying this campground was well kept, and definitely big rig friendly, and it's not too far off of I-95, just outside of Port St. Lucie, Florida. Debbie and I stayed here a couple of days. Everything was fine. We had used the water that we'd had on board from when we just left the Tavernier Keys, and so we had not hooked up to the water. And it was probably a good thing anyway. Guess we probably should have done things a little differently. It was a warm morning, and these little frogs had found their way up in the electrical box.
Look at all of them! Oh God! No! Some got... Ah! It was full of white frogs.
They're up in there and they've just been squished.
No.
And just a quick note, the freshwater fill spigot was not attached to the electric box. It was on its own pedestal. So we decided, after a couple of days, we were packed up and we had decided we were going to move on up to Titusville to stay at the Titusville Elks. And they did not have full hookups, so we went ahead and wanted to fill up our onboard water here at the fairgrounds before we left. So with our freshwater tank topped off, we hit the road. So for the purposes of this video, all you really need to know is we got up to Titusville, stayed at the Elks Lodge. Alright, let's go up. Whoop. One of our frogs from the St. Lucie Fairgrounds thought he would try to hitch a ride. I don't think he was successful. I think he got squished. Well, I even checked these just for that purpose. I guess this little guy made his way to the top of the slide and got squished. And when I was up on the roof setting up Starlink, I found this little guy up on top of our roof. I got him down and turned him loose. After a 2-day stay, we packed things up and headed out again. We made it to our Travel Resorts of America location, just outside of Lake Panasoski, Florida. When we packed up to head out of here and head north, we went ahead and topped off our water again, and that was the first time I realized that we had maybe an issue. And if you're keeping track, this is the second time I've put water in our freshwater tank since leaving St. Lucie Fairgrounds about 6 days ago. I told Debbie that it seemed like it took a lot longer to fill up the freshwater tank this time around, and I didn't know if we had a water filter problem or maybe just the water pressure at the park was low, but we'd check on it when we got to Lake Oconee. So we stayed there a couple more days and we headed up to our place in Greensboro, Georgia on Lake Oconee. So it's looking like it's setting up to be a nice sunset. When we got to Lake Oconee, I wasn't in any big hurry because we had a full tank of water, so I settled in for a couple of days. All right, I'm bringing you guys in on a project. It's a little late. I thought it was going to be something easy. The water pump quit working. Literally while we were using it. I was doing dishes and I was rinsing the dishes and I was just using the deal there to turn on and off. And the water pump light was on like it is now, and the water just quit. And long story short, I made a couple adjustments on the water pump and got it to pump again. We didn't quite understand what was going on. Still don't. I still don't know what's going on. So in the morning I went out to fill up the freshwater tank, and I decided to switch the water filter before I started fill the tank. And this is what I found. The water filter on the right is the new one I was getting ready to install. The water filter on the left is the one I just took off. Okay, so this is some of the gross things of camping. So we're replacing the water filter because we've got problems and we don't have any water pressure coming through this filter. And we figured out the problem. That's a frog. When we got to the fairgrounds in Port St. Lucie, we stayed at the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds, and there were these little frogs everywhere. And we turned on the water, tested it, and everything was fine, turned it off, but we did not fill the water tank. We filled the water tank on the end of we stayed there 2 days, so it'd be the morning of the morning of the third day. We put the hose on, filled it up. It was obviously a frog in the line, and it blew it right into there. You can see what it's supposed to look like. The problem is we filled our water tank completely, and then we're using this filter, and then trying to fill it a second time just now. Just to give you an idea of just how small that sucker was, look at its little feet on both sides here. So it was a tiny, tiny little toad that he completely got set right down in that filter. I'm obviously going to throw all of this away. We're also, we are draining our freshwater tank. We will treat it with Clorox bleach, and then we will drain it a second time. We don't ever drink this water anyway. For what it's worth, we do take baths with it, I guess, and that was kind of gross. And any other water that we use, we run through the Berkey for either drinking or our coffee or cooking. Got the 2 water filters on the top and 2 water filters on the bottom. And so we have our outside water filter that every time we put water in the RV, we filter it. Then it comes through there, we filter it again through here. Sometimes we do that with water jugs, but the water jugs that we fill through our initial filter. So this is actually the second filter. And then we also have the Brita inside the refrigerator, which is a third filter. So we are filtering our water, our drinking water, 3 times. This wraps up our story about the frog getting in our freshwater tank. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching our videos. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, do all the things to keep connected to all of our adventures. And we hope to see you on the road, but if we don't, we'll see you right here next week. You can imagine that Thanksgiving time the family had a little bit of fun with the frog in the water issue. And as always, and until next time, cheers everybody.